Now, more on the search for double standards and hypocrisy. It's not difficult. You can find it everywhere. In the US, President Joe Biden has been caught hoarding classified documents obtained while he was vice president. Here's the latest from NBC.
New details surrounding those classified documents discovered at President Biden's Delaware home. The White House disclosing Saturday 5 additional pages were found in a review of the Wilmington residence, bringing the tally to 6 pages found this week. It comes after revelations that an initial batch of sensitive records was unearthed in Mr. Biden's garage in December. On Thursday, the White House confirmed that detail, while adding another classified document had been located in an adjacent room.
Our regular US commentator, columnist Kristin Tate, is astounded at what's unfolded.
The knowledge that these top secret documents existed wasn't even leaked until after the midterms, months after these documents were located. How convenient. But of course, when it happens to Trump, his home gets raided shortly before the midterms, and the media makes it into the biggest story of the year. And of course, we all remember Hillary Clinton when she was keeping classified information on her email server. Nothing happened to her. We have a 2-tier justice system, and it is really, really disturbing. And this story just exposes how big this problem is in this country.
Yeah, the double standards are extraordinary, and it's really disturbing that it's reflected seemingly in the approach of law enforcement authorities as well. But if you want to talk about the hypocrisy politically, you just have to look at what the US President Joe Biden said about Donald Trump and the documents just last year.
How that could possibly happen, how anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that, I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
There you go, Kristin. By his own standards, he's damned, surely.
It is so unbelievable what hypocrites these leftists are. And let's be clear, Chris, there are major differences between the classified document scandals with Trump and Biden. With Trump, we actually know where the documents were the entire time. They went from the White House to Mar-a-Lago. With Biden, these documents have been floating around for 6 years. We have at least 6 years. We have no idea who had access to them, where they've been. We don't have visitor logs to his home in Delaware, where, by the way, he's been for over 100 days since he became president. So there were a ton of people coming and going from that residence alone. Not to mention Hunter Biden, who has all kinds of business connections with different nations like China and others, was in this home regularly at one point, paying Joe Biden tens of thousands of dollars in rent. So there are so many questions that need to be answered, but I don't have a lot of hope that we will ever get the answers to those questions, or frankly, that anything will be done about this, because Joe Biden is a Democrat, and there are 2 tiers of justice in this country, one for Democrats and one for Republicans. It has become crystal clear, and it's infuriating.
It's hard to argue with that, Kristin. It is crystal clear from the other side of the world here, the other side of the Pacific at least. Look, you and I have talked a lot about the ongoing crisis on the Mexican border in the US. Joe Biden has finally turned up at the border, and he's gone further south. He's met in Mexico with the Mexican president. Any reforms coming out of this? Any hopes that the border crisis will be solved?
No, absolutely not. It's been 2 years, and he finally gets to the border after the border is at its worst point, probably in history. He's saying now that we will accept 30,000 new migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. I mean, this is just streamlining illegal activity, making it easier and more simple. But I think the trip down to the border was mostly just because he's posturing for a 2024 election bid, a re-election bid rather. Nothing serious is going to be done to fix this problem. If anything, it will probably just get worse with the news that we're all of a sudden going to be accepting now 30,000 more people who are breaking our laws. It is just so infuriating. But at this point, we are just basically importing entire new cities of people into this country, and we don't know who they are. We don't know who's in this country. And frankly, the apprehension numbers that we go over when I'm on the show, you know, the tens of thousands of people getting apprehended every month, that doesn't even count the people who aren't getting caught. So I mean, the numbers are just astounding. It's getting worse, and this administration is throwing fuel on the fire and making this problem significantly worse.
Now, while some of us around the world and you in the US might be concerned about the performance of the president in the big issues that he's confronting and not making much progress on, he does continue to try and appeal to a certain element of the US constituency. You guys have been celebrating Martin Luther King Day, and at a function attended by Martin Luther King's eldest son, Joe Biden put on this show for his wife, Martin Luther King's daughter-in-law. Have a look.
My wife has a rule in her family. When somebody's birthday, you sing happy birthday. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear darling. Happy birthday to you.
What do you make of that, Kristin?
Oh my gosh, I don't know whether to be laughed or be horrified. We have a vegetable as president of the United States. Oh man, but you know what, Chris? I'd rather he be up there doing that than actually doing things to destroy the country actively. It is just so pathetic. But you know, I'm hearing whispers from my friends who work in journalism that he is, in fact, planning to run for president again. So, I mean, if this is the mental state he's in now, by the time he runs for president again, his brain will be even more mushy. And I just don't see how the Republicans won't be able to beat him.
It can't happen. It can't happen, Kristin, but we'll keep a close eye on it. And I look forward to catching up with you throughout the rest of this year. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Chris. Always a pleasure.
Kristin Tate there, very harsh on President Joe Biden, but it's hard to watch, isn't it? I can't imagine he'd even consider recontesting. We will see.